Growth Club, it's me, Jeremy. Look, there's been something which has been playing on my mind for, it must be at least 6 weeks, maybe even a couple of months, right? The more time that I've spent working with consultants and business owners, helping them to identify ways to become more productive, the more I've started to observe the trade-off that seems to take place, and also the level of acceptance that seems to exist with this as well, right? The trade-off between effectiveness and efficiency. Now, everyone seems to be driving towards increasing efficiency, and efficiency is a good thing. However, if your efficiency drives start to trade off effectiveness in too much abundance, you'll start to do things highly efficiently, not necessarily produce the results that you wanted, but because the process is so efficient, you'll start to justify doing more of it. And when you start to justify doing more of it to be able to drive more results, you're focusing in the wrong place. Like, you're putting calories into something which has a failure rate which is so unacceptable that you're having to put more volume and more effort into it. So if we look at some examples, right? If we look at the example of sales activity. Now, not everyone's favourite thing in recruitment to do is sales, and I totally get that. However, from an effectiveness perspective, in a drive for efficiency, there is an ever-increasing number of people who are choosing to prefer email as the initial outreach tool or even the sales channel of preference over using the phone. And the reasons that I hear back from people as to why they prefer that is, it is alleged that nobody answers the phone anymore. However, no one is ever going to answer their phone if every piece of communication that they get is sent to them via email. And given the typical inbox in business today currently receives 244 unsolicited messages, it's going to be very difficult to stand out from all of that noise, and far more effective would be a better deployment of the use of the phone. And there are various strategies that you can apply, and it's not here now that we're going to do any kind of training on that. Just if you've sacrificed the effectiveness of synchronous communication, hello, and you've replaced it with something which is asynchronous, hello Bob, I hope you're well, right? And you're not getting the results that you wanted, so you just start to send more messages. You have to think about what is the cost of doing that. Because for every reply that you receive, if there are 9 that go unresponded, what impact could that eventually be having on your brand or your reputation, either with the people who are receiving it who aren't interested and consider it to be irrelevant, or just your brand and reputation that erodes because over time you become forgotten because you're now using an outreach tool which is highly efficient but not particularly effective for maintaining front of mind awareness. And another place where I see it is on LinkedIn, and when people use InMails, particularly through LinkedIn Recruiter, they do a search, they find some contenders for a job, and let's just say for mathematical purposes we make it easy and there are 50 of them. They then craft an InMail that they send to those 50 and wait to see who responds. And because it's not possible to send a follow-up InMail to many of those people until they've done something with the original, you kind of burn through people really quickly. Because if there are people in the 50 who you think look like really strong contenders, and they receive the same generic message as the other 49, and before you roll your eyes and think, well, I write very personalised, batched messages, it's difficult to write a truly personalised message that goes to 50 individuals. There are ways to do it. But it takes a lot more work in terms of the search. And if you're doing it for efficiency, because you want to be able to get that message out there and to cover a space, again, you could be trading effectiveness for efficiency and find yourself needing to either get through more InMails or spend more time doing a second or a third run of a search to look for additional suspects and culprits and contenders for the job that you're working on. So if you're thinking about getting back into the groove of improving your results, and your thought process always turns to automations and efficiencies and templates, think long and hard about whether the efficiency that you're driving, that is designed to free up more time to do other things, is actually feeding your effectiveness or is holding you back from achieving the results that you want. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm sharing here. Anywhere where you feel you've identified efficiency without trade-off to effectiveness, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear more about it. And if you've ever found that you've been perhaps guilty of what I'm describing, reducing effectiveness in the quest for efficiency, there are things that you can quickly do to be able to remedy that. And I would say that if anything that you're doing in a drive for efficiency is producing less than 50% positive results, you've got to be looking at a process to be able to apply some kind of continuous improvement to be able to increase the effectiveness of it. And if you're getting less than 20% effectiveness from what you're doing, it's got to be on some kind of red list, because that's dangerous, right? If 80% of what you're doing is failing you, and you continue to do it because it is efficient, or you continue to do it because you hear that others are experiencing the same level of failure, it's not a reason to join in, folks. And if you're looking for ways to be able to improve effectiveness of anything which is synchronous or asynchronous, I'm more than happy to share some ideas if you've got any questions that you want to be able to drop into the chat. So look, I'll let you get on. Have a good week, and let me know your thoughts. See ya. Hey, thank you for watching. If you want to continue to get access to more high quality training and coaching ideas to help you to stay inspired as a recruiter, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and check out the description below for relevant links to tools, frameworks, and other ideas to keep you moving forward. And I look forward to seeing you on another one very soon.